Kelvin. So, what can you expect about your fight against Robert Whittaker in February?
At this level, you expect every fight to be pretty hard, especially at the championship level. So I expect it to be the hardest fight, the toughest fight that I've had in my career. Yeah.
How was the negotiation to get the title picture? How did that happen? Because I remember last time we spoke, we were kind of negotiating, and then it happened. You expected that to be kind of fast?
No, I didn't think it was going to be so fast, and honestly, didn't know if I was going to get it. But I knew that it was the fight that made sense to me, and I said it before. I felt like I was just that guy that was just stepping up and fighting. I was fighting for a long time, or every couple of months, and was being very active. Obviously I had one fight against Weidman that I lost, but I was one of the most active fighters, and I felt like Dana always says, guys that step up and fight should be rewarded, and I was definitely that guy for a little while, and I felt like I was the guy to get the title shot, and it made sense to me, and I think it was pretty easy negotiating the deal.
How do you see his style, and how do you think you could defeat him?
You know what? To be honest, I don't see anything very special in Robert. He's very good, very tough, very gritty. He's going to come in shape. But I train with one of the best teams in the world, the Kings MMA, with Rafael Cordero, and I see everything. I see some of the best strikers. I see some of the best jiu-jitsu guys. I see some of the best wrestlers in the world in that room. So anything that he throws at me, it's nothing I haven't seen before. So I feel like I'm more than ready, more than prepared for this fight. Especially his style. His style is actually somebody that I've been looking at for a little while, just because I feel like his style and my style would be just an insane fight, just because he's not one of those guys that looks for the takedown, and neither am I, even though I'm a wrestler. And I think he wrestled in Australia a little bit too, and so we both come from that wrestling background, but we both like to box, and I think it's going to be exciting.
How much do you think you improved, since you moved up to middleweight and now, after all these fights? Because I remember you talking maybe going back to the welterweight in the future. Is that something that you still think about?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's always in the back of my mind, for sure, as I've always said it. But right now, I've maintained my eyes on the prize, which is the title, whether it's at welterweight or at middleweight. I want to get the title shot, So this time it was at middleweight. I stayed focused at middleweight, climbed up the rankings, fought the guys that I had to fight, and I'm here, and this was expected of me, even though no one expected it, I know that, but I was expecting it of myself.
What was the hardest part though, going up, for you?
Yeah, just going up, having to deal with the height and reach and strength. Advantage that the other guys had over me, but somehow I found a way to kind of make my weaknesses into strengths. You know what I mean? I feel like now if I fight taller guys, then I know how to beat those taller guys. They're not able to get under my hips as easily as they would be with guys their height. And it's hard to get under my hips. Jacare was only able to take me down one time. And he shot maybe 15, 20 times. Only took me down one time out of those.
But Whittaker is not going to have, he doesn't have this kind of advantage against you, right? He used to be a welterweight as well.
Correct.
So how do you see this fight? Both you guys used to fight as a welterweight. Now you guys are going to fight for the middleweight.
Yeah, finally. Right? Finally I get to fight somebody my size. You know what I mean? And I was doing pretty well. So now I get to fight somebody a little bit closer to my size and my range, and I get to pull out a little bit more tools out of the tool bag now that I'm able to use my reach and length a little bit more.
Without cutting that much of weight, right?
Correct. Yeah, I feel great at middleweight. I feel happy. I don't restrict myself of a freaking strict diet. So I eat good. I eat good. During my camp. But I don't restrict myself. If I want to have a piece of one slice of pizza on the weekend, that's great.
Do you still do that though? Like you eat whatever you want now?
No. During camp right now I got a guy living with me at home. He's cooking for me, kicking my butt, making sure I'm not eating what I'm not supposed to. Right now, we're kicking camp in all gears.
What is the most difficult thing that you don't eat when you're in camp?
I guess a burger, a good burger. I like a good burger.
The fights in Australia, usually they happen in another time zone, but they, right now, I think tomorrow they're fighting at 1 p.m. To kind of meet the time here.
Okay.
That's crazy. Does that give you any thing that you should, how the adaptation will be, in that scenario, like having to fight in the morning or maybe in the afternoon? Yeah,
well, it's insane because I've fought in Brazil and I fought up to close to 3 o'clock in the morning, so I've had to train, up to those hours, to get my body acclimated. So you just got to kind of roll with the punches, whatever time you think you're going to fight, because they tell you, you check in with the UFC, they tell you, okay, you're going to be fighting around this time, and you train for it. You train the whole week to get your body acclimated, and if you don't, then you probably don't feel as good. If you do, then you feel good.
Are you planning to go there before to kind of adjust?
Correct. I am planning to go at least 2 weeks before the fight to get my body acclimated to the time difference. It's a whole nother almost 24 hours difference in Australia. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be heading out there soon.
The UFC just announced Israel Adesanya against Anderson Silva in that card.
Good fight.
How do you see that fight?
I like that fight. That's an interesting fight. Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva can come out and be Anderson Silva and pull out something spectacular, but so can Israel, because he's got a style very similar to Anderson, and I think they're just going to go out there and go wild, and play on each other's style, and I think it's going to be something amazing to watch. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be cool.
Anderson's back. How do you like that? Because he was telling us that Dana White promised him if he wins this fight, he's going to get a title shot. How do you see that? Do you think it's fair or something like that?
You know what? At this point, I don't pay attention to those kinds of things. UFC does what the UFC does, and it's their decision, and that's fine with me. When I win the belt, I'll defend it against anybody the UFC wants me to.
Okay, and how do you see Anderson coming back? He's 43 now, right? And Chuck just fought, and he's 48. There's a lot of talking about that.
Sure.
Maybe he was not able to fight anymore.
Sure.
And Anderson's 43. I guess we can see he's not in his prime, but he's still Anderson,
Yeah,
but
he's still Anderson. He hasn't taken 7 years off.
That's true.
And they're just two different people, Chuck's been known for the guy that likes to party, in his heyday. And, Anderson, I don't really know his lifestyle very much, but he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So it's just about who took care of their body better, and I feel like Anderson took care of his body better.
Because I was like being kind of the plan B in case of something happened with the main fight in that card in Australia, How do you see that maybe like the UFC having a backup plan in that situation?
Well, I was considered at one point as well, and I don't see it as a bad idea. It's another way of solidifying a #1 contender or solidifying someone who's next. You know what I mean? And I feel like anybody who steps up and makes weight for no reason, just for maybe an opportunity to fight for the title, that should be the #1 contender next.
Yeah, my last question, my last topic would be about the Ultimate Fighter, because that's your third time, right, in this reality show.
Well, yeah, I was once
Latin
a fighter,
America,
and then
two as a coach
twice.
Yeah. What's the difference for this edition?
Very different because a lot of the Latin American fighters come from very different backgrounds, very humble beginnings, just very different mentalities and very different upbringings. And here in the United States, you get fighters from Europe, you get fighters from here in the States, different upbringing, different mentality. So yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, I saw you did pretty well. Did you get any special connection with some of them?
With the entire team. With the entire team.
Are you going to still training with some of them?
They reminded me a lot of my season in the Ultimate Fighter with Chael. Because my team and the coaches and the fighters, and the coaches, we just kind of meshed and meshed almost perfectly and instantly, and just had a great season, you know, and I feel like we had a great atmosphere with the team, great atmosphere as coaches. It just worked out perfectly, and I felt like the fighters felt the same way.
I just want to know, we have some fights coming up, you know, including the end of the year. We have the first super fight between women. We have Cyborg facing Amanda Nunes. What do you think of the fight? And, you know, could you tell me a little bit about what do you think is going to happen in the fight?
I think Cyborg is a savage. She's a savage. She's the best fighter pound for pound. Best women's fighter pound for pound, you know, and without a doubt, will go down as the greatest of all time, and greatest woman of all time. Saying all that, I think there's only one fighter that can beat her right now, and that fighter is the only one, in my opinion, is Amanda. Maybe she can pull it out. Yeah, she has the tools to beat her, I believe.
And the main fight in the card is John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. How do you see that fight going?
Alex and Gustafsson?
Oh, sorry, John Jones and Gustafsson.
Right? Alex and Gustafsson. John Jones and Gustafsson, that's the rematch, right? Well, shoot, there's a lot of question marks with that fight regarding John Jones, his return, what's he been doing in his time off. There's a lot of question marks. I don't know what he's been doing in his time off. Yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, his last fight against Overstake Peru, it wasn't the best John Jones that we've seen. You know, who knows how this time off would affect him. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's in the right path and doing okay.